me? I'll tell you when it's on.
Okay.
Okay, we're live.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, anybody,
If
everybody?
anybody's there, we just thought we would pop on for an hour or so and hang out with you lovely people. And I'm just trying to get to the actual live stream. There we go. Oops. And so we were just wondering how everybody's going. The interminable election that never ends.
Yes, it's so exciting.
Yeah. And hold on, we'll just have a look at the
How badly will Trump
audio.
try and screw things up?
The audio levels. Okay, so we've got pretty good audio, it seems.
I'm just sitting in a space station, checking out the incoming planes. This is my little spaceship. It looks unimpressive, but it's actually huge inside, rather like the TARDIS.
Oh yeah, like the TARDIS. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's a fancy one. See all its little decorations?
Yeah. This
It's
is
the blue ball.
This is sort of like a space station somewhere.
What?
It's like a space station somewhere.
Yes, it's a space station.
Anyway, I was reading something interesting. This is while we're waiting for, maybe there mightn't be anybody turn up, but that doesn't matter. We're just hanging out here, and Dee Dee's going to play a game, and I'm just going to watch her and chat to anybody who turns up. Excuse me. I was just reading something about fibromyalgia today.
Let us know if the sound levels are all right and so on.
Yeah. I think they'll probably be okay.
Hi, Ginny. I see you there.
Oh, let me see.
I'm well.
Excuse me.
They do look a bit better than
Hi,
they did
Ginny.
a few days ago.
It's surprisingly a surprising turn of events, really. I thought Trump would have it completely in the bag. Excuse me. Without any trouble. The sound is good. That's good. I was just reading something about fibromyalgia today, Ginny, and from nutritionfacts.org. That's a science-backed site. You probably know that. And I was just saying how people with fibromyalgia had very, very low vitamin D levels, and so they were sort of suggesting that people take about 2,500 units of vitamin D every day. But I mean, vitamin D has been found to be really important for the prevention of or the helping in the prevention of a whole lot of very serious illnesses like diabetes and all that kind of thing. So just one more reason to keep vitamin D levels up. I take about 2,500 units, micrograms, sorry. Is it micrograms or units? I think it's units. Units of vitamin D, vegan vitamin D every other day.
Check out the site.
Every other day.
To make sure whether it's units
it's
or
units.
micrograms.
Yeah, units. Anyway, so that's just by the by. I just thought that was interesting. And so what have you been up to, Ginny? Anything interesting? I hope you've had a good week.
I hope it's improved with the changes in the election.
Yeah,
I think
you're
in for a long, insane time as Trump tries to fight everything tooth and claw.
Yeah, not that we think Biden is anything to, but as we've said, it's better to fight a crypto-fascist than an overt, full-on fascist. And
well, yes, I mean, really, it's like you're going to end up fighting imperialism, racism, social injustice and laissez-faire capitalism anyway, you may as well not have to fight overt fascism in brown shirts as well.
That's right, yeah. Anyway, so things haven't changed all that much, but Georgia has had 99% reporting. Biden is 2,456,845. So he's about, how many? He's about 4,000 and a bit votes ahead of Donald Trump. And Nevada, 87% reporting. And he is about, I don't know, Joe Biden 632,558, and Trump is 609,901. So there's a fair gap there, and North Carolina, well, Trump is ahead there by Joe Biden's about 2,656,303, and Donald Trump is 2,732,782. So there's 99% reporting there. So that probably is not going to. That's probably going to fall in Trump's favor, don't you think, Dee Dee?
Which one?
The North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina, I think almost definitely.
Yeah. Pennsylvania is 3,337,069. That's Biden, and Trump is 3,308,192. So that's 99% reporting. So that there's a gap there. So anyway, I don't know, but if he like he's been talking about taking it to the Supreme Court, even though apparently the judges in these various courts that he's been taking these supposedly electoral fraud to have sort of said, where is the real evidence? It's not enough to just say this is happening. You have to have evidence. So they can't seem to actually provide evidence. And in fact, one of them, they presented a post-it note where somebody said there's some sort of fraud going on.
We're going to get them.
And the judge said,
something like that.
Well, that's not really evidence. So anyway,
anybody can write a post-it note.
Yeah, so I don't really know how corrupt these judges. I know that he's put a lot of judges on various court benches all over the country. So I don't know, sort of how this is going to play out. I mean, I don't know if they're going to try and make sure that all the mail-in ballots, which would be predominantly Democrat, because, well, for one, Donald Trump actually told these various places, these various states, not to count mail-in ballots until election day, and he would know that most Democrats would prefer not to vote in person because of COVID. So it's almost like he set it up this way, where he set it up so that he knows that most of the people that have sent in mail-in ballots would be Democrats, and they would be posting them, would be counted after the, on the day of the election. So he's trying to get all those mail-in ballots, which he knew were going to happen. He's trying to get them removed, and he's trying to get the Supreme Court to, I think he'll try and get the Supreme Court to make them invalid. So that is of concern, and and he's just put in somebody who is likely to,
try and do that.
To do that, Amy Coney Barrett. So that is of concern, and so it really, really is up to how corrupt these various judges are in the states, and also, the Supreme Court. I'm pretty sure, he was even bragging that the Supreme Court would go his way. So who knows what will happen there? Hopefully, but we live in a bizarro world where everything that could go wrong and everything that is corrupt just seems to float by. And knowing how I don't think the Democratic Party, the corporate Democrats, care one way or the other. If Trump is in or he isn't in, they don't care. They get theirs. They get all their their lobbyist money and all that kind of thing. So if they really cared about getting in, they wouldn't have picked Joe Biden. Anybody else but Joe Biden, and of course they sabotaged Bernie Sanders twice.
Trish
and he
figures
let
it's
them.
a sacrifice.
Yeah, I think he's a sacrifice.
If he doesn't get in, which is possible, then it's no real loss.
Yeah, it's like all the other people who have careers on their mind and they want to run for president. They kind of they didn't want to run against Donald Trump, so they threw Joe Biden in, even though he's cognitively challenged, and probably in about 6 or 12 months, if he gets in now, Harris will probably take over as president, because I don't think cognitively he's going to last. But I just feel like he's been kind of used as like a, as a sacrifice where nobody else wants to run against Trump. And so they just threw in the person that was probably going to lose and had no real political career.
Well, I think they also threw in
any further political
the most
career
conservative person they could.
Oh, yes, and he's like a Republican.
On the premise that, if you can convince people who are Republicans but not crazy, then that'd be good. And anybody on the left who's utterly abandoned will still vote for them because they're voting against Trump.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen an awful lot of people on the left go, I'm going to vote for Biden even though I think he's an absolute schmuck.
Yeah.
I'll be polite.
Yeah.
And needs to have his feet held to the fire from day one.
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem is that they finish this election, and whoever wins, Donald Trump is still going to be president until the 20th of January.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do, even if he loses, he's going to do the biggest spoiler thing and try and enact the most worst things he can, and quite possibly may try and generate a state of emergency.
Maybe,
so that he can stay being president.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a 9/11 type incident or a war. He'll start a war.
Civil war or something.
Yeah, war with Iran.
Civil war, he might be able to claim, well, there's a civil war on, I can't leave right now.
Well, he might start a war with Iran because his donor, billionaire donor, Sheldon Adelson, has always wanted a war with Iran. He might sort of try and slip that in before he's has to leave, which would be really awful. And he tends to do those kind of things around just after New Year's Eve, which is just a wonderful way to start the new year.
Start the year,
like the first year that or the second, he was trying to start a war with DPRK, and then the third.
There's always something awful right at the beginning.
Yeah, just
of every
after. Year. It's just awful. It's just the cruelest thing that the minute you get into the new year, he's trying to start. He's rattling sabers at somebody.
This is a busy little station.
Anyway.
Yes.
Oh, here's Justin. Hi, steal my beats. Hi, Justin. How are you?
Hi, Justin.
Nice to see you.
We've just warped into a new solar system, and a little closer to the galactic core, which is where I'm aiming for. And I'm just seeing what ships land here.
Justin, if in future you want some sort of notification, if you just send an email to that info@vegantrove.com, and I send out a little notification. It may not be a very long notification, meaning it might only be 30 minutes prior, but I'll try and send out one to anybody who provides, you just provide, an email address, or just send me an email, and I'll add that to the list, or anybody else who's interested. So, hey, I'm great, just feeling like, this is Justin, hey, I'm great, just feeling like I'm in the twilight zone with this election. Yeah, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're all like that.
Sometimes the bell notification doesn't work, Justin, just to let you know. I've noticed there are different channels I'm subscribed to, and I haven't seen anything from them in like haven't have seen anything from them in like a few months, and then I go to their channel, and they've
been putting out all kinds of things.
Yeah, they've been putting out stuff. And there's some particular channels, anti-imperialist, leftist ones that get suppressed. So anyway, I'll leave that up to you, but just to let you know. Oh, there you go. Okay. So thanks for that. I'll put that in the in my mailing list. And don't worry, I won't be spamming you with anything. It'll just be notifications for this, and of course, your information is private. I just thought I'd say that, but hopefully you already know that. Let's see, where is that? Yes, isn't this drawn out thing is sort of very, very tiring, and you can see it really taking its toll, this drawn out election, on people, particularly people who understand how things work. I mean, these candidates are awful. One is, like we've mentioned before, one is an outright fascist and the other one is a crypto-fascist. So it's like, but as Didi and I were saying, better to have to fight a crypto-fascist than an outright fascist, so, in some ways. But anyway, where is that list?
I think the game just crashed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh well. I will.
Hang on, no, there's still.
Just start again. No, it has.
Oh, okay, but we're still on, so I'll just keep talking. So the game's probably crashed, but hopefully you're still there.
I think it's still streaming.
Can you see?
And
see me
I
still?
will have it back up in a minute.
Yeah, Didi just says the game's crashed, so she'll have it up in a minute.
I'm not sure. I was just about to land in a little settlement, and it just died.
Oh. How come? What happens there when it dies, Didi?
I haven't had that happen before.
Oh, okay. Where is that?
And it'll take a few minutes for it to start up again.
Right.
You can see this is going to go on. We're going to have colored galaxies going on for a little while. And I'll be able to look at the things and talk to people a little bit more. The Trump cult is protesting to stop the count. Some of them are. His advisors pointed out that if they stop the count in Arizona and Nevada, then Biden has won. And so they want to keep this count going there. So they've changed the little chant to stop the steal.
Stop the steal? Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Stop the steal.
Because, it's just crazy.
Yes, because stop the count would mean that he would lose.
Yes, at this point it would mean he would lose.
Yeah.
He might win Pennsylvania and Georgia, but he would lose the election.
Yeah, they need to get their little activities straight before they start.
Okay.
There's not a lot of thought goes into some of these things, although I think that Trump has many plans on how to, he's probably had a plan on what to do if something like this happened, and that was one of the reasons he put in probably Amy Coney Barrett in such a hurry.
Okay.
So they could, that's what concerns me, is that I've been concerned about for a while anyway, is that, is he going to find numerous ways that are completely and obviously corrupt and ridiculous to steal it via the Supreme Court? And of course the Democrats don't care, I think, one way or the other.
Well,
if they did.
It's also tricky because, as far as I understand, the election is done by the states.
Yes.
And so the Supreme Court needs to have some excuse to interfere in the states, and they're not supposed to.
Right. Can they do that? Like, can they call it some sort of election emergency? I don't know. Is there some sort of precedent
I don't
there?
know. It's like they can call it whatever they bloody like.
Well, that's right.
And I think they just make it up as they go along. But
yeah, well, that's the thing. And like Justin was just saying, all premeditated. Yeah, I mean, they've had this, and they all do. Both those parties do it. They kind of know. They sort of like corral these things into happening. Like, I mean, the Democratic Party is using this to generate donations for their party in this sort of guise of, let's make sure that everything's counted. Now, they might actually use some of that money for that, but there'd probably be people throwing money at them, and so they end up, making money on a situation that would not have happened had they picked Bernie Sanders. If they hadn't sabotaged him twice, because heaven forbid we should have anybody remotely progressive getting into that office.
Yes,
but had they had Bernie Sanders, it wouldn't have. There would be nothing like this happening. He would have just won, straight up, and Donald Trump would look, because. How bad do you have to be eking it out like this against somebody who has basically killed 250,000 people close to through COVID? Everything is falling apart. They can't manage to give them, and this is the Democrats' fault too, can't manage to give them any sort of fiscal stimulus package that is for the people, not for corporations. The economy is tanking in a way, and Joe Biden is barely scraping through. I mean, how bad do you have to be? And on top of that, he's a full-on fascist. How bad do you have to be to almost lose to Donald Trump?
Well, to have somebody...
That's amazing.
To have somebody who, just before the election...
Yes, exactly.
...confuses his granddaughter with his dead son.
Yes. Did you see that, Justin?
And then when he corrects himself, he gets his granddaughter's name wrong.
Yes, he confused his granddaughter for his dead son. I didn't see the video, but apparently that's what happened. He sort of was calling his granddaughter Beau.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biden. Biden was doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see the video,
if you Google it, you'll find it.
Yeah, you'll probably find it. I'm sure Donald Trump has probably posted it.
Well, I think that it'll be all over the internet, actually, because it's such a ridiculous situation.
It's really and this is the amazing thing. Like, imagine somebody doing that, and they're actually going to be president. They're confusing their grandchild's name for their dead son's name. It's even the wrong gender.
That's how cognitively problematic he is.
And yet, he may be the president, and it's just so ridiculous. Like, I mean, you wouldn't put him in charge of a fish and chip shop. Excuse the fish and chip thing, seeing I'm vegan, but you wouldn't put him in charge of a shop or a candy store, and yet he's going to be in charge of the biggest, empire the world's ever seen.
Yes.
Creating havoc all around, which he will carry through. You know what I mean? He'll carry on the usual, sort of national security state agenda. Empire. In a very fine way. But anyway, yeah, it's sort of really, kind of nuts. And that's why I can't really, even though Biden should win this election, it's just that we've just seemed to have slipped into this bizarro universe where anything that can go a pear-shaped will. And the fact that, like I've said, the Democratic Party is not committed to winning. If they were, they wouldn't have chosen this person, Biden. And so that means that I don't think they're going to put up really much of a fight if Donald Trump actually, screws everybody over and steals this election.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to put up a fight. So that's, it's concerning that I think it's possible if he really takes it to the nth degree that he's going to end up taking it, stealing it.
Yeah.
That's what I think, don't you, Didi?
I do. Well, yeah. I think Donald Trump will try everything in his power.
Yeah.
To try and screw things up.
And if he doesn't, he's trying to make out like he's been, this election's been stolen from him because he has to save face. That if he does end up out on his ear, that he can always say in his book that he's going to write, which is going to sell, tens of millions of copies probably. He's going to say how, the evil radical left, in quotes, the so-called, like Joe Biden is radical left, is laughable. But he's going to say that they stole the election from me, and he's going to write a book about it.
I think he's actually going to try all the legal methods through the Supreme Court and all of the judges he's put in place, because he's spent a long time putting judges in place.
Yes, that's right. He's got 20%
now, I think,
of the judges
as
now.
I say, he's limited by the fact that by the Constitution, I believe it's in the Constitution, the states have control of the elections, which is partly why it's such a schlemazel and nothing is consistent.
Hey, Didi, look what Justin says. Empty vessel, God bless him. LOL, he's on his way out, on his way in. Yeah, exactly. He's on his way out, on his way in. Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen the movie Being There with Peter Sellers, Justin and Ginny?
I actually think it is Weekend at Bernie's.
Chauncey, yeah, no, but Chauncey Gardner is way more qualified to do that job than Joe Biden. And if you've seen that movie, you'll understand what I mean by that. And he's more like, it really is approaching the Weekend at Bernie's thing. But anyway, and it's very sad, and it's sort of they obviously have him on good drugs when he's making sense.
A lot of people have talked about the fact that he didn't really campaign with black and Latino people, Latinx people, and that is one of the reasons he did so badly. But I think part of the whole strategy of the Democrats was, given his cognitive issues, you needed to keep him out of the media and away from people. And I really think that they've just tried to keep him away from people through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a really smart thing to have done.
Yeah.
Because there's so many gaffes. I was surprised how well he did in the debates. I think they must have really had him up on drugs.
Yeah. Adderall. They're both taking Adderall, I'm sure. I think Donald Trump takes something. He was sniffing away when he did that. He did that little speech at the end of the election, and Anyway, so that's been a lot of fun. I'm sure you're probably wishing it were all over, as so many other people were. It just drags on. Like, oh dear, his whole term as president has been kind of really excruciating. Just listening to the constant tweeting and the Russiagating against him, which he has a reason to be upset because there's no basis to that. But all of that, the constant Trump derangement syndrome, his sort of impulsiveness and doing really awful things like dropping that mother of all bombs on, on.
They talk about him not
Iraq.
Starting any new wars. Well, it wasn't for lack of trying with bombing Iranian generals and things.
Yeah, well, killing Soleimani. Yeah.
Soleimani. I mean, it's like if he'd really not wanted to start a war, he wouldn't have done that.
No.
But more than that, I mean, he's kept all of the wars going.
Yeah.
And he's bombed people like crazy.
Yeah. He's increased the carnage, I think, 320%. Or increased I think it's something he's increased 320%, whether it was I think it's the...
And feeding the Israeli stuff, I mean, that was disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway, Didi, tell us about this, what's happening with this...
Okay, well, I'm here on a new planet, and it's an interesting little planet, and I'm trying to identify animals and plants because part of this game is uh, is biological. You sit here and in your exploration you try and, like, I'm looking at all these little guys who are wandering around here, and I can go to my suit and make some food for them, and maybe give them some food and make some friends with these guys. Look, I've just given him some food, and everybody's coming around.
Wow, they're like little platypus cows.
Yeah.
Well, little platypus antelope.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 different species here.
Oh my, they're very friendly.
And they're very friendly because I'm feeding them.
Very good. I was just going to read out what Justin said. Justin said, I just want peace, acknowledge inequality, and a government that is for the people. And he said, other than that, I don't know any of these politicians. I just want safety for my family, and I'm ready for whatever may happen. Yeah, wouldn't it be lovely to have some peace on the planet?
I think most people would really rather not have to deal with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy, all of all of this, really.
Yeah.
And I think most people would rather not have to deal with it, you know?
Yeah. I read something today, which I'm actually going to share on the channel probably tomorrow, and it was really good by hoodcommunist.org, and it's titled "Hitler is Not Dead: On the Politics of Exceptionalizing Donald Trump" by Joshua Briand, and it's sort of it's very interesting. Anyway, I'm just going to share it all because in my next video.
He's very cute.
What's that?
I'm just looking at the little guy here. He's very cute. There's a little baby.
There's just one part of this that kind of anyway, it's a very interesting article.
Oh, look!
I'll play that tomorrow morning our time.
Bits of this planet glow.
People care too much about shit that doesn't really matter. Yeah, really. You know that YouTube just hid that comment, Justin, because it had the word shit in it. Seriously? Oh, I better not say that. They tend to get strange about that word. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
We say that. Lots of Australians use that word quite often. Don't we, Dee Dee? Like,
yes.
It's not seen as an awful word. Like, I remember about 20 years ago, I sort of, it's not uncommon sometimes for people to say, oh, they're a real SHIT head, which is actually not as terrible as what Americans might think it sounds. It's just kind of a throwaway comment. People don't go around doing that often, but it's like it's not seen as something awful, is it, Dee Dee?
No, and it's like, I mean, I'm very careful whenever I'm on social media to use shite.
Yeah, right.
Because that seems to be acceptable somehow.
Yeah, because they don't recognize
the Irish version of.
Yeah.
I'm picking up poo.
Oh, good.
I've fed all these guys and they've all pooed on everything.
Oh wow, they're rather large poos, though, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to land my spaceship. Look out, little guy. Yeah. My spaceship's coming down. I'm on a superheated rainstorm at the moment. I have to hide.
Yes, and Ginny says YouTube hiding Justin's comment exactly proved the point he was making. Yeah, Ginny. Still waiting. So where is this, Dee Dee? Where are we now?
Okay, well, I'm on a little planet. It's in a superheated rainstorm. I think I'm going to go off planet now and back into space and maybe land on a different planet.
I've got a little cat on my lap, and it's funny. Last night, the last couple of nights, she's been sleeping in. Dee Dee has just completed this room that we hadn't sort of had finished because we're building this house, and so she just sort of completed this room. And Alia thinks that this room is her room now. Like it's got, it's got a bed in it, and it's got a desk, and
We've got a little bench in
it's
there.
it's like it's a whole setup. And she thinks it's not a big room, but it's just like it's kind of a room where I was going to do maybe some podcasts in it and maybe play some music and stuff. It's a small room, but she just thinks it's all for her. It's hilarious. So you wake up and here she is on the bed. She just thinks it's great. This is Alia, the one that's a little bit hi Herb.
She's a little bit grumpy.
She's a little bit grumpy. She kind of gets grumpy and kind of lets us have it sometimes just for no reason. We think that might have been the reason why she was dropped off at the shelter.
I love her. She's just such
but she's
sweet.
So sweet too. Like she has that side of her, but she's also she gets kind of grumpy. Like if you're patting her and you're not doing it the right way or you're doing it for too long, she'll let you know. There's other things, hey Dee Dee?
Yeah.
But she loves rolling in the dirt. Like she goes outside and rolls in the dirt and rolls, and she ends up like a little puffball of dust.
She comes in and she's just covered with dust.
Hey Dee Dee?
Hey.
Aoife isn't up to any mischief there, is he? Aoife, oh no, there he is.
No.
Hi Aoife. Hey.
And Swifty's on my desk.
Anyway, the other day, Ginny, I have to have this metal out of my wrist because I broke my wrist in the beginning of the year, and doing something really benign, and I have good bone density, but it must have been the way I landed, and it just kind of it did it badly, and they had to put a plate in. Anyway, so I've had this plate, but I think it might have been obstructing some of my range of movement in my wrist, in my hand, and in my fingers and stuff. I can do stuff with my hand and everything, but it's just it feels a bit weird and it's a bit stiff and everything. So anyway, the specialist did a CT scan and sort of thinks that I should have the plate out because he thinks it's obstructing some range of movement. So yesterday I went to the hospital to have the plate removed, and I did the whole nil by mouth thing, and I was sitting there for a few hours not drinking, and then they said, I'm sorry, we've had some emergencies in and we can't do you right now, so I had to go home.
Yeah.
And
she went in the morning, and
went in the morning,
got out
there
about 5:30 in the evening.
So I was there all day, and not eating and drinking, and then anyway, so they said in the next week they'll probably let me know, give me a day's notice or something. So I've got to do that again. So that'll be fun. But I'd like to get that out of the way. Little girl, I'm going to have to get up. I hate putting her off my lap. Excuse me for a moment. We've got these vegan ice creams in the fridge, and I've got this hankering to have one, and I hope you don't mind if I eat it while I'm talking. Yeah, I do. So I'm just gonna pop Alia off my lap, poor little girl, and go and get that.
Okay. I have to put a
Oh,
bit
hi, Carly. How are you? Carly's here. Are you on a dig at all, Carly, right now, or are you just sort of dropping in? I don't know what time it is in the UK now. Just hold on. I'm just being a bit naughty. I'm going to go and have a vegan ice cream, and I hope you don't mind it. There'll be a little bit of crunching because it's got chocolate on it.
You want to give me one? Sure. I never say no to chocolate. Anyway, it'll be interesting. I think Trump could quite possibly, if he can't get any headway with the various courts and the Supreme Court, which he's stacked with his people, I think he may create a situation where he can declare an emergency and invoke emergency powers. Trump, I think. Well, I think if he can't get any joy with the Supreme Court and all that kind of stuff, I've got somebody attacking me. Some other shit. Oh. Yeah. Well, isn't there something else? Is that the only one left? Really, what happened to all the rest of them? Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Uh-oh. It crashed again.
What's that?
It crashed again.
Oh no.
I'm not sure why.
We're having trouble keeping No Man's